Good morning, good evening. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't speak French, so I will do it in English. And first of all, thanks for inviting me. It was really pleasure. And I start. So, the title says almost everything, but we have to go into the details, of course. So, Polysystemism, a simultaneous employment of different tuning systems emerging from string theory, M theory, and supersymmetry. So first, we have like shortly introduce what string theory is, what M theory is, and supersymmetry. Even if the colleagues have done a beautiful work, of course, I will be short. And there was a period where the physicists had problem in finding, in try to get together two different theories. One is the theory of relativity, and the other is the quantum mechanics. So, because they are both valid, but they cannot stay together, in the sense that the theory of relativity works for like massive objects, and the quantum theory the quantum mechanics works with very little objects. And then they said must be something which can put them together, and then they found. This idea of string theory, which is like little parts of matter which vibrate and give birth to the elementary particle and to the matter we know. The problem was that actually they were looking for one theory, and they have found five, which is a bit too much. And then all of this theory explain the reality where we are living in a universe which has 10 dimensions, like 3 special dimensions we know, time, and then there is this Calabi-Yau manifold, which is a 6-dimensional compactified space where actually the strings are moving. And this is a like picture of it. Of course, it's 6 dimensions, and this is like a bidimensional figure. And so they found these 5 theories, and they have to solve the problem. So to find one theory which can put everything together, the theory of everything. And then there was this nice man, Edward Witten, who had this idea that the 5 theories they have found, they can stay together in the sense that they can be converted one into the other through something that is named dualities. And there are 2 types of dualities, 2 types of mechanism which can convert one theory into the other one. And then there is the S duality, which means a relationship which says that a collection of strongly interacting particles in one theory can, in some cases, be viewed as a collection of weakly interacting particles in a completely different theory, which means, so it's just the point of view which is different, because actually they describe the same physics. And then there is the T duality, which says that if we consider these strings working in a circular extra dimension, we can say that one theory can express the reality in one world which is let's say in a circular dimension which ray R, and the other theory explains exactly the same physics, but the ray is inverted. This is 1 on R. It's just again the point of view. This means that if we can transform these 5 theories one into the other, they are particular aspects of the same reality, which means that the M theory, which is the one Edward Witten has thought, means that the M theory should be something which glue together these 5 theories. Then they try to convert these 2 theories, so because we have like type 1 and type 2. So type 1 there are 3, and type 2 there are 2. So at the end they were able to convert the type 1 in the 3 types of type 1 in one into the other, and the 2 types of type 2 one into the other. The problem was to convert the type 1 theories, these 3, into the other. And then they tried to do that, introducing the 11-dimensional supergravities, which means that we have 1 extra dimension more, because before we had 10 and now we have 11. And just by doing equations and calculations, they found out that actually there are not only strings, so little objects, but even big and massive objects, which they name brane. And then, because we have introduced the supergravity is actually a field of T which combines the supersymmetry and the general relativity. So the supersymmetry implies, or this is, of course is an hypothesis, that for each boson there is a related fermion, so that they come in pair. And the problem is that we didn't have found these partner particles. So each particle has a partner, but the colliders, for example, the LHC in Geneva, was not able to find them. And then they thought that maybe it's not so easy to find them, but they are more massive than their correspondent particles in the standard models. And if you see here, even in the graphics, so we have like the normal particles, which are like this, and the other, which are the supersymmetric shadow particles, which are a bit more massive. And for detecting them, we need more energy. So the means that we have today with colliders we know, they are not able to do that. Or maybe they don't exist. It's even possible. And then, so they said that for each particle, there is the superpartner, and that this is a list of them. So like photon, photino, urbino, gluon, gluino. And they are related with these relationships. So the spin, which is a type of, let's say, rotation, it's a bit more complex, but we don't have time to explain it. So it's like this one is 1, and the other one is is the half. These introduce the first connection between the physics and the music. So if we have a look at these graphics, like here, yeah, here. So this is the so-called Möbius band, which is actually like a band, and the stream are glued together, turn up, and that means that if there is a particle rotating on this space, it needs like 2 times. It has to make 2 rounds to get to the same position. If we have a look again, it starts here. Okay. Okay. Then 1 round, and then 2 rounds. Okay. And it arrives to the same position as before. So if these particles have a particular spin, so particular type of rotation, and all of them, so they can reach the same position in a certain amount of degrees. Like for example, the spin 0 doesn't change the direction, so it's fine. Spin half finds again its direction after a rotation of 720 degrees, and so on. So in music, that was, I will not display it in details because it doesn't belong specifically to the polysystemism, which is more about pitches and harmonies. But this was used for creating like rhythm and the directionality of the musical substance. And then we go to the polysystemism, which is actually a word that I used for saying different an employment of different tuning systems working together. And the first thing is I would like to say that my approach to composition is really direct to the result, to the perception of music. So everything I use in theory should work for the listening. And I wanted to use different type of tuning system because they give me more possibilities to have more different acoustical phenomena compared with the 12 equal temperament. Because in the 12 equal temperament we have like those specific frequency. Of course, I cannot have some specific acoustic phenomena which I can have using different tuning systems, just because the frequencies are different. So, for example, if I would like to have a particular type of beats, and I use the 12 equal temperament, I cannot achieve it, and I need more tuning system because it gives me more palette to work with the intervals. And so the first use of this different tuning system working together, it was in 2005 when I was attending the Kitchen Academy, and I wrote this piece, the first one, which is Luminescence, which used 3 types of tuning system. At that time, I didn't know actually the string theory, M theory, and so on. So for me, it was like more intuitive, the use of these 3 the different tuning system working together. And then when I got to know these branches of physics, I realized that actually they offered me the idea to connect different tuning system in some way that which is coherent and which can become like a system. So these are the list of the pieces which use different tuning system. And let's say the crucial piece was this last one, Heisenberg Suite, which I wrote in 2013, last year, which was performed in Mannheim. Yes, and it used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 tuning system. Yes, and then the last 2 years I was extensively working on these things. And then I wrote this orchestral piece, which won the first prize in Hungary in a competition where the chief was of the jury was Pederetves. And that was the first piece for orchestra I used to, I wrote writing with different tuning systems, so which are 4 here. And then the last one, which was a commission of the National Hungarian Radio, Bartók Radio, and which was performed last May, which uses 7 different tuning systems. So 12 equal temperament, just intonation, Pythagorean, Minton, 3 types of Werkmeister. And since this piece, I integrated the physics, so the suggestions from physics. So string theory, M theory, supersymmetry. As a string theory implies the existence of a multidimensional space, which is in that case the 11 dimensions. So I thought I can use like different tuning system working together. In that case, the maximum is 7. And but I didn't want to have like a system which is general. So I wanted to intervene in local intervals. Just say I want that type of acoustical phenomena, and in that region, that space with that sounds. So everything is correlated. So the use of different tuning system was specifically intended for particular acoustical results. Then the relationship between the intervals is governed by supersymmetry, which we have seen before. And then the correspondence and transformation between intervals belonging to different tuning systems is governed by the M theory and dualism. In that case, when I found the correspondence between the intervals I'm using, and I related each interval or each specific range to some specific acoustical phenomena like beats, roughness, sonic permeability. I mean, with the sonic permeability, the degree of clash between pitches, because I think that consonance dissonance is a bit obsolete conception. And then in that case, because I planned the way to create different acoustical phenomena on different ranges, on different parts of the acoustical space, I create like a multidimensional space, complex space with different acoustical phenomena, which is actually inside the sound itself. So I don't need, like, for example, to put instruments in the different part of the walls, which is a bit more subjective, in my opinion, because it depends on the position of the public. So if the listener is in the back of the hall, he will anyway get some sound instead of others, because just the source of sound is closer or farther compared with him. So the idea was to have like an inner space of sound, which is directly connected with the substance of the sound, so with the features of the sound itself. One crucial part is the abolishment of musical parameters, in the sense that if I intend the composition as a flux of sound, everything which change every little part of the flux affects directly the global result of the massive sound, which means that if everything I change affect the proper moment I'm listening to, and even what is next, or what was performed before during the performance of the piece, I reach something which is very close to the non-locality, so that everything happen in time affect not directly that moment, but even the different parts of time during the whole piece. Yeah, so an example of like how I can convert the intervals from one system to the other is related all the time with inversions. But I mostly use let's say, a special type of inversion which implies the idea of nucleopolarity, which I shortly just described. So if I have like in a reference interval, like let's say 7 major, this one, and then I want to invert according to the asymmetrical nucleopolarities, I should have like the second, of course, because it's the inversion of 7th, but I preserve the quality of the interval, so if it is major, I take major. And it's very simple stuff, of course. Yeah. So the preservation of the quality of the interval is like the base of this type of system. And then, so we get an example of a conversion from one tuning system to another one. And so, for example, if I have a third minor plus 16 cents, which is the third minor in just intonation, and this is my reference interval here. And then I just like invert only the inflection of the sounds, like minus 16. I have like a type of unbroken symmetry because they are perfectly symmetric, which can be related somehow in the antiparticle, like electron positron. Then if I have like 6 minor, so it's the preservation of the quality of the interval, and I invert the inflection, so I have this type of symbols for saying inversion. So I have a partially unbroken symmetry, which is that case. And I get an interval which belongs to another tuning system, in that case, like Werkmeister 2. And then the relationship between this interval is connected to dualities. So dualities in terms of M theory. And okay. Then there are other examples. So, for example, 7 minor minus 14, Werkmeister 4. So, broken symmetry, of course, because it's the same nucleopolar inversion. But I should have like plus 14 for have a like completely symmetric. But this is broken symmetry. And so I switch from Werkmeister 4 to Werkmeister 2. Why employing 7 or 8 in the case of like even 24 equal temperament, a different tuning system. So the reason is the perception. So I would like to have like different types of beats, different types of roughness. So I would like to transform the sound in terms of acoustical results. And then again, if I start with intervals specified in local spaces, I have a specific phenomena which are placed in the determined range, of course, and they have a perception of physical space which is already present in the sonic matter itself, as I was saying before. in order to have like a real inner space within the sound itself, I should have like this specific acoustical phenomena I discussed before, and the abolishment of the boundaries between musical parameters, the sonic flux I spoke about before. Then, working with the other tuning system is hard in the sense that you cannot say to a performer like, I would like to have like this third minor minus 16 cents. You say, okay, I don't know how it sounds. So, and to be completely sure about the result I would like to achieve, I had precision. I need preciseness. So, and I can achieve through strings scoldaturas, employment of natural harmonics and open strings, because if I change the fundamentals, which are the open strings of the instrument, and I use only open strings and natural harmonics, I cannot change the frequencies, in the sense that the open string cannot be changed, and the natural harmonics, they don't sound if I change the position. Of course, it can be like a slight difference, like 1 cent or 2 cents, but it's really minimal. And the same in the woodwinds, like deviation in tunings should be realized through fingerings, which is more precise. Then the same, for example, I could realize like just changing the diapason. If I say to like clarinet, okay, just change your A is 436, everything it plays is 60 cents lower. And then the natural harmonics in the horns, for example, and the controller harmonics in piano. And I would say that theory is important and the listening is also important. And I quoted like something that Peter Ritterbusch say about my music, which point out actually the meaning of what I believe I'm doing in music. So that everything should be related with theory, of course, because it's an important tool we have. But he said, at the same time, it works very well as a listening. And this is what matters. And I believe in that kind of music. So, some little example. I choose like 2 pieces. One is for chamber music, for ensemble, Beyond Perturbative States, performed by Impronte Ensemble with Andreas Luca Beraldo as a conductor, which was performed in Mannheim. And Transparentia, which was performed by National Hungarian Orchestra, conducted by Laszlo Tihany in the Spring Festival we had last May. Yeah, so this one was like an example of how the different tuning systems work together in, let's say, in a harmonic sense. And then the next example is like these systems work in a melodic sense. Then I'm going to finish. I just have a 1 minute example for orchestral music, and then the next slide is conclusion. Okay, so 2 minutes in all. Okay, so then I would select the second one. And then the conclusion. So I wrote this. So what for me is the polysystemism. So it's an extension of tools employed by composer in order to enlarge the possibility of a sonic phenomenon, create a modification of timbre through the use of different tuning systems and other devices, like scordature, alternative fingers, etc. Far to be a speculative theory, is a mean to approach music in terms of its perception, intends to create an inner multidimensional sonic space which abolishes the musical parameters boundaries, non-locality, the introduction of a criterion of sonic permeability, degrees of clash between sounds related to the physical quality of the sounds make the idea of a consonance dissonance obsolete, organization of changes of bit frequency in the progression of time is a transformation of the rhythmical parameter within the sound itself. Therefore, polysystemism abolishes the organization of music according to gesture, which is the forced will to be present, like the composer, I should be there, otherwise there is no substance, and replace it with the organization of the musical matter according to the force internal to the sound itself. Focuses not only on musical matter, but also on the forces which rules it. The relationship between the nowadays physics, for me, and music is a way to be really part of the present world, instead of cultivating shared sonorities of languages. Thank you so much.